Welcome back for another video, guys. As you can tell by the title of this video, I'm going to be going over the top 3, in my opinion, the top 3 best cameras for 2018 if you're looking at picking up a new camera to start out this year and create content. Of course, 2018 literally just started, so there are going to be a ton of cameras coming out this year, which is exciting, but I wanted to put together this list so that you guys can jump on cameras that are already out and get creating content for 2018. This should be pretty obvious, but you want to pick a camera that fits you best, that works for you and what you're shooting. Don't just take my word for it, guys. This is a video of my opinion and what I like to shoot, but rent a camera, test it out, experiment things with it, even check out reviews on the interwebs and see what camera works best for you, and then buy one. So with all that being said, all those disclaimers and whatnot, let's check out the best cameras for video in 2018 so far. So I'm gonna start with my last pick, and that's a Sony A6500. It's around $1,400 for the body, and then you can get a lens for obviously more. One of my buddies, Dylan McKenna, he's actually a fitness YouTuber, and I'll link him down in the description, but he actually uses the Sony A6500 for all of his videos. And when you know how to use a camera, and when you want a camera that's pretty well balanced, this might be the camera for you. It has a 24 megapixel sensor. It's an APS-C sensor, so it's not full frame, which means it's not gonna be great in low light, but if you know how to use a camera and really mess around with the settings, then you'll be able to get a really good image out of it. You can also shoot an S-Log on the camera, which is also a plus for color grading, retaining the most amount of information and data in your image to be able to color. It has a native ISO of about 25,600, and the body's pretty nice. It's pretty lightweight, pretty small for what it can do. It can shoot 4K, and the build quality is very, very nice. Like the more expensive Sony cameras, it actually has a really good autofocus system and image stabilization, so that's always a plus as well. So if you're not trying to break the bank per se, but you're trying to get a really nice camera that'll produce an insane image, at least for video, and a pretty good image for pictures, then the A6500 might be for you. Maybe you're a vlogger, you're really looking for something to run and gun with, not something that's not gonna be too heavy. This might be your camera. My second pick is the Panasonic Gh4. The body is right around $2,000. I've never used the Gh5, but I have used the Gh4. For the price, it is a pretty solid camera, especially if you know how to shoot with it. It's not gonna be great in low light. The Gh4 wasn't great in low light either. It's definitely no A7s Mark II, but it is going to produce a really good image, especially when you know how to use the camera. It has a 20.3 megapixel sensor. It can shoot 4K at 60 frames a second, which is really nice, and it can actually shoot 6K and 4K photos. It also has internal 422 10-bit color when you're shooting in 4K, 24, and 30 frames per second, which will really help you retain color accuracy in post. Like the last camera, has image stabilization, which is always great, touchscreen, an OLED viewfinder, and a great autofocus system. Last but not least, my main camera, the Sony A7s Mark II. I am sort of biased, that's why it might be number 1, but I still think it really trumps the last 2 cameras that I just mentioned. I would have said the Canon 1DX Mark II and those kind of cameras, but I wanted to keep it somewhat affordable because I don't think many people have, $6,000 to spend on just the body of a camera. So I wanted to make sure it was between, with the $1,000 to $2,500 range if you're looking for a camera. So the A7s Mark II, which is my camera, I'm actually shooting this video right now with it, so hello. Hi. The body is about $2,400. Of course, you can get a lens and stuff like that, but it's a nice camera, pretty lightweight actually. Mine is not, just because I'm using a Metabones adapter and a Tamron lens, which are both super heavy, so it's actually pretty freaking heavy, but I'm getting a nice Sony lens here in just probably a few months or so. So for being a few years old, it has stacked up super well against the new cameras shooting at 4K, 24 and 30, 1080 at 60 and 120. It has a 12 megapixel sensor, so that means it's not great for pictures, and the A7s Mark II is Sony's video camera. That's what it is meant for. If you're looking at a photo camera for photography, that's Sony, look for the A7R Mark II or Mark III. Having 12 megapixels in a sensor means the megapixels are larger, which will actually let more light into the sensor, and that's why the A7s Mark II, in my opinion, trumps the other two because of its low light capabilities. So it does photography fairly well, not great by any means, especially if you're shooting photography for print, it's not going to be your camera at all. It is a video camera first and foremost. I've used it in many weddings, and not having lighting setups and whatnot, it is very, very helpful to have a camera that is really good in low light. I cannot tell you enough how that's important. If I was shooting on my old camera, my first camera, my Canon T3i, it wouldn't be usable. The footage would not be usable in many scenarios. So that is a huge plus with the A7s Mark II. So like all the other Sony cameras, and really all the cameras in this price range, it has a great autofocus system, especially when you're using a Sony lens. You can use S-Log 2 and 3 and a bunch of other profiles. I'll probably make a video on my custom profile that I actually got inspiration from another YouTuber. So I'll probably make that here in a little bit, so subscribe if you want to stay up to date, you know what I'm saying? And of course, image stabilization and other features come with it as well. Now the Sony cameras, the menus are not as user-friendly as a lot of other cameras, but you get the hang of it. I'm actually still finding stuff out with these cameras, but nevertheless, it is my #1 pick for the best camera to get in 2018 as of right now. Obviously, it's January, so many more cameras will be coming out, as I said in the beginning. But for those of you who maybe got some Christmas money or whatever, or you've been saving up and you want to get a camera to start the new year off right and really start to create some sick content, these are my top 3, in my opinion, choices to pick up for this new year. My whole intro for YouTube was shot on the A7s Mark II. I'm gonna play it right now so that you guys can see it again, just so you can get an idea of what the picture quality is and whatnot, just to give you guys an idea. Unfortunately, I don't have the GH5 or A6500 to shoot with, or I would have given you guys footage as well of those, but you're gonna have to stick with this one. Enjoy. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed that. As a bonus, real quick, if you're really just getting into videography and photography, I would recommend using a Canon, maybe T6i. My first one was a T3i. They are a lot less money, a lot less features, but they are great starting cameras to really give you enough that you have to learn, but once you learn all those things and you're really thinking, oh, I need a better camera to push myself even further, I've exhausted all these options, I need something better, then, justify spending $2,000+ on one of these cameras. So that is my personal opinion. That is it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button and then hit that subscribe button to stay up to date. I'll be doing more and more videos in 2018. I'm super stoked about. It's actually been really fun so far. So let me know in the comment section what you guys would even want to see as well. And if you enjoyed this video, I will be looking at them and responding to them. So my screen just fell off. Peace.